The Western Pacific is storm central tonight, with no less than 3 systems active, all threatening land. And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for July 24th. So another busy time, and again in the Western Pacific after the last round of storms we now have another with 3 storms active at this moment in time. Francisco most northerly, Komei near the Philippines, and 12W, which we've now designated as a tropical storm, near Guam. All 3 systems affecting land at this time. In the Atlantic, it's day 54 of hurricane season with no warnings in effect, but we are looking at a little system there entering the main development region from the Eastern Atlantic. R7, our designation, only a 10% though at this moment in time. In the Eastern Pacific, we've got 2 systems marked. Neither of them are active yet, but there are the areas where they may develop. We're giving a moderate chance to the one on the left-hand side there, which will be a system entering the Central Pacific in a few days from now. A little while to go before that one actually develops, but we'll be watching out very closely. Well, in the Western Pacific, we've got all 3 systems active here. All at tropical storm status according to our analysis at this time. Komei is the strongest with winds near typhoon force, 70 mph winds, and signal 3 warnings are in effect for parts of the Philippines. In the North Indian Ocean, there are no warnings in effect at this time, nor indeed any developed systems, although there is some interesting cloud structures there in the northern Bay of Bengal, potentially a circulation trying to develop on a system that won't last very long before pushing inland. In the Southern Hemisphere, we're going to be keeping our eagle eye on the Southwest Indian Ocean in case it tries any more funny business after what happened a few days ago. Indeed, long-range models are suggesting that something could happen, but we haven't designated anything for the next 7 days. Of course, way off season in this area. The Australian region as well, nothing active right now, as it should be. Just a few low... nothing special clouds there over parts of the Tasman Sea and over the southern part of Australia. Let's take a look at Tropical Storm Komei right now. 70 mph winds and a pressure of 981 millibars. Currently at 16.1 north, 118.3 degrees east. Signal 3 warnings are in effect for a tiny part of the northern coast of Pangasinan province and also for part of La Union. Signal 2 warnings in effect for a much wider area spreading as far north as Ilocos Norte. It's 159 kilometers from Agno, 177 from Alimino City, 213 from Dagupan City, 245 from Baguio, and 271 from Vigan. 12W is located just to the west of Guam, 40 mph winds and a pressure of 1004 millibars indicated right now, 13.6 degrees north, 143.7 east as of 10 AM Chamorro Standard Time this July 24th. A tropical storm watch is in effect for most of the Mariana Islands. It's 104 kilometers from Apra Harbour on Guam, 114 from Hagatna, 169 from Rota, 258 from Tinian, and 276 from Saipan. This storm will be gradually moving northwards, and tropical storm conditions definitely possible on pretty much all of those islands. So here's some satellite imagery looking at all 3 storms in the shot here in the Western Pacific. Obviously the largest one there being Francisco on the top, although it is struggling with its enormous size really, and hasn't managed to get above 45 miles per hour at present. It might scrape 50 on its way through the Ryukyu Islands near Okinawa and the Amami Islands, then into the East China Sea. Obviously Komei is looking pretty good but rather small. Here's a close-up of it right now. It is the most dangerous storm out of the 3 at this point. There it is, throwing up massive amounts of convection. Its convective pattern was looking a bit better yesterday. It looked like an eye would appear at any time with rapid intensification, but it looks like it hasn't quite happened for it. Just shy of typhoon status on our latest estimates. And it's been like that for pretty much the whole duration. Maybe a little bit of wind shear perhaps on the southern side, looking at that convective view. But further south, a big chunky band on its southern side as well, throwing rainfall into possibly even the Manila region of the Philippines. Some significant populations there, possibly getting some heavy rainfall, but it's going to be the mountains more than anywhere that's going to get the highest amounts, and we'll take a look at the rainfall estimates later. This, of course, is Francisco, and you can see that it looks off-centered, and that's because the center of circulation is in the middle of the image, and all that convection is being pushed way off to the eastern side of where the center is. That's a surefire way for the storm to be struggling to gather any further intensity on itself at the minute. But that is Francisco. Gradual movement towards the northwest at this point. It'll be passing very close to Okinawa. You can see it there on the top, the largest island there. The center of the storm, quite difficult to make out on the radar imagery there, but it is approaching quite quickly. And this, of course, is 12W. No name on this one yet, and it looks not the best, it has to be said. But we saw scatterometer passes showing a circulation and storm force winds earlier today, and so we've gone and called it a tropical storm. Maybe the convection might be a question mark at this point, but it's certainly going to get there very soon indeed. It's been designated a depression by the other agencies. And this is 90W, another system. I don't even know where this is actually. I think it's on the southern side of Francisco even. I'm not sure why that's been designated. I don't expect formation. Well, here's the US East Coast out over the Atlantic Ocean, and it's a generally quiet scene there. Some thunderstorms across the southern United States, a few severe thunderstorm warnings active at this time. And this is the Caribbean region, a few storms around Cuba, the northern Yucatan, and some parts of Central America as well. Looking over the open Atlantic, on that right-hand side, that little ghost of a system, that is the 10% that we've marked, southwest of the Cape Verde Islands, moving towards the west, and may eventually develop for more than a tropical wave as it moves into the Caribbean region. Eastern Pacific also looking pretty quiet. We don't have any of those systems that we're expecting could form on the radar yet, so keep looking out in some of these cloud patterns for that potential catalyst to develop. But certainly nothing to be looking at just yet. There's the Central Pacific, Hawaii, dead front and center on that imagery there. And this is the Western Pacific again, showing all three of these systems active right now on this fantastic blue marble imagery that you can find on our website with live updates. Francisco to the north. And this is the Indian Ocean, Bay of Bengal. Some massive thunderstorms blowing up over Bangladesh and over the West Bengal region, and even deeper over central northern India there as well. Southwest Indian Ocean is looking rather quiet now, very little in terms of real thunderstorms at all across the entire basin. And this is the South Pacific. We didn't really have much to see in Australia. The South Pacific region here, only a few extratropical systems active there. In the Mediterranean, just in case we get a possible system here, it's not going to be right now. Big frontal system moving through eastern Spain and southern France at this point. And this is our automated stream where you can take a look at all of the systems with updates live on our channel. Just head on over there. It's on our YouTube channel, Force 13, and look at the live video. Well, sea surface temperatures are very high indeed in the Gulf of Mexico and in parts of the Caribbean, over 32 degrees Celsius possibly in one or two spots, and very warm out in the Western Atlantic in general as well. Eastern Pacific, extremely warm temperatures off the coast of Mexico. That was going to be the hot spot in the next few weeks if we're going to see further developments. In the Western Pacific, also looking very good, of course, as you would expect. Bit of a cooling actually near the Ogasawara Islands northwards. I think that may still be residual from Nari. But temperatures near the Philippines looking very good, over 30 degrees in quite a few spots towards the Marianas as well, and Micronesia. Bay of Bengal looking really good too, getting up towards 32 degrees Celsius, still off the coast of India near West Bengal and Odisha, and possibly down to Andhra Pradesh as well. Compared to average, this is what the temperatures look like at this time. The subtropical Atlantic is looking really good at the moment, 3 to 4 degrees above average around Bermuda up towards Atlantic Canada. Eastern Pacific, half and half still, off the coast of Mexico, still the best spot right now. Western Pacific is also quite temperate in the tropical and subtropical zone, 1-2 cool spots, a few warmer areas as well, but extremely warm waters in the extratropical zones of Japan. Oceanic heat content is also looking pretty decent. The Philippine Sea, of course, taking the lion's share of that energy, extending all the way from Guam to the Philippines, just waiting for those systems to take full advantage of this. Even the ones that we've got right now aren't quite doing that. But interesting to watch 12W. Let's see how well that one does. If it starts off early on in its life, it could get some significant intensity. Caribbean looking good in the Atlantic. That's the hot spot there from Jamaica through to the Yucatan Peninsula, and a little spot there on the loop current as well. So these are the computer models, the GFS for the next 5 days, showing all three systems there. Francisco just continues to loosen up completely and hardly becoming a tropical cyclone at all by the time it enters the East China Sea, really getting stretched from pillar to post. You can see Komei there reaching typhoon status and getting stronger, but this time the GFS calls for it to just about miss the coast of Luzon. The first time it's forecasted that, it's always been for a landfall, and instead moving through the Batanes Islands and off towards the northeast. And obviously we're looking at 12W there as well, massive system which slowly but surely may be congealing into an enormous front over the western Pacific. Now we're also looking at this system here as well that we've now circled. This is the 40% that we've given for the central, well, just about eastern Pacific, but entering the central Pacific later on into next week. It will probably be really entering that circled area around about the 26th, 27th of July there, continuing west or west northwestwards, and could become a tropical storm. Looking at rainfall expectations for the next 7 days, then you can again easily see all three tropical cyclone signatures there by their rainfall patterns. The biggest thing you'll notice for Francisco is most of that rainfall being where that convection is, well displaced to the east. There's hardly anywhere in Japan that will receive substantial amounts of rain from it. The Daito Islands getting the most at just over 150 millimeters. Parts of the mountains of Luzon getting really high amounts of rainfall, 450 millimeters plus. But take a look at the Mariana Islands there. Rota, Tinian, Saipan could possibly get up above 1,000 millimeters of rainfall, pretty much all from 12W or what follows behind it, that massive band that really turns to an enormous front. And that's what's left of it, continuing off towards the northeast, becoming an enormous extratropical system way off north. Behind that, maybe another storm forming there as well, moving northeasterly towards the Ogasawara Islands, but continental Asia, at least, no further threats at the moment, it would appear. But look how large 12W gets as it moves off towards the north as a massive extratropical cyclone. Central Pacific storm, you can see it there, maybe another little thing trying to form behind it actually, and then Eastern Pacific proper, another big system becoming a substantial hurricane there. But we were looking at this about a week ago on the GFS model. It was calling for something very similar. Is it crying wolf again? Well, we'll have to see what happens. With all that activity in the Western Pacific, it wouldn't take much for it to drift eastwards and maybe ignite a few storms over there in the Eastern Pacific. And that Atlantic, a second system there possible next week, later on next week, moving towards the Caribbean, trying to get a circulation going. So much going on. Scan the barcode, that will take you through to the Force 13 merch store. We can take a look at all our items as well as our full season and individual animations on request. And you can find all of our outlets on our Linktree page. Search Force 13. So into the fantasy range, the crazy range is another system in the Southwest Indian Ocean. Yes, can you believe that? An August storm there, I think, is arguably even more rare than a July storm. So the GFS is throwing one up there in the first week of August. That would be fascinating if that happened. Quite a large system there, tropical storm. It clearly is a tropical storm there, but it is so far out. Really can't take that one seriously at the moment. But something to be curious about. The Eastern Pacific, that hurricane continuing off towards the west-northwest. Another victim of those really cool waters that are out there right now once those storms get above 15-20 north. And then behind that, maybe another system there off the coast of Mexico. That there is the hot spot for development where that second storm was forming. And the storms at the moment, at least, are going to get the most joy in the Eastern Pacific, sort of in that area, just a couple of 100 miles off the coast of Mexico, most of them grazing the coast, and then continuing off towards the west-northwest. Well, what happened on this day? It was 1980, for those of you who are old enough to remember. Typhoon Kim in fact it was a super typhoon, 150 miles per hour officially, and a pressure of 908 millibars at its peak just before slamming into the eastern coast of Luzon late on that day. We also had Tropical Depression 3 off the coast of North Carolina, just about to recurve northeasterly around the Outer Banks. Of course, infamously, in 1980 there was a big satellite outage in the Western Pacific and Indian Ocean. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Kim properly, but there is that image there. Well, back to today then. 44 storms so far in 2025. The next name in the Atlantic is Dexter. In the Eastern Pacific, it's Gil. And in the Central Pacific, it's Iona. The Western Pacific's next name should be coming up very shortly indeed. And for those who know the naming list, they would know that it is Crozer, followed by Bailu. In the North Indian Ocean, the next name is Shakti. Code orange in effect for the Philippines right now, with those signal 3 warnings in effect as well. Some strong winds possible along the coast. In the Australian region, the next name is Fina. The Southwest Indian Ocean, Ao. And in the South Pacific, it is Ermil. That's it for tonight's Tropical Weather Bulletin. We'll be back again tomorrow night.
Become an Ultimate Fan today.